Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating intersection of medicine, how ancient therapies, like acupuncture and herbal medicine, can be a powerful support system for anyone on a modern IVF journey.
So if you're going through IVF or even thinking about it, this question is probably top of mind. It's a journey that can be full of challenges and, finding ways to support a healthy pregnancy is just paramount.
And that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to break down exactly how these traditional practices can work right alongside your medical treatment, acting as a partner to create a more supportive environment for a successful pregnancy.
Okay, so first things first, let's look at the core challenge here. The risk of miscarriage in an IVF pregnancy.
Now, the goal of these complementary therapies is absolutely not to replace your IVF protocol. Not at all. Instead, I want you to think of them as your partners in the process. They work to create a more receptive, a healthier internal environment where a pregnancy can really take hold and flourish. So, how exactly can these therapies help? Well, the approach really focuses on 4 key areas of support.
We're going to explore these 4 pillars one by one: improving blood flow, getting hormones in balance, bringing down stress levels, and regulating the immune system. Let's start with that first one, blood flow.
All right, first up, uterine blood flow. The best way to think about this is like an essential supply line for a developing embryo. If that supply line gets restricted, it can seriously limit the oxygen and nutrients that little embryo needs to grow. It's critical.
And both therapies tackle this head-on. Acupuncture has been shown to enhance circulation directly to the uterus and the placenta. Meanwhile, specific herbs, like dengue, for example, are well known in traditional medicine for nourishing the uterus and promoting that vital blood flow.
And, the research really backs this up. A 2012 study, for instance, found that acupuncture directly improved uterine blood flow and actually lowered miscarriage rates in pregnancies that were considered at risk.
Let's move on to our second pillar, hormones. Hormones are basically the body's chemical messengers, and for a pregnancy to stick, you've got to have the right signals firing at the right time. If levels of key hormones are low, especially progesterone, it can be a huge hurdle.
And here again, we see this two-pronged approach. Acupuncture can influence the body's main hormone control center, what's called the hypothalamic-pituitary-ovarian axis, to help stabilize those levels. And then you have herbs, like Bai Xiao or white peony root, which are used to support and balance the entire reproductive system.
And this is supported by some pretty significant research. A major meta-analysis back in 2008 linked acupuncture to improved IVF pregnancy rates, and they suggested that stabilizing hormones was the key reason why.
Okay, our third area is stress. And it's so important to understand that stress isn't just some emotional state. It has a very real physical impact on the body. The main stress hormone, cortisol, can literally constrict your blood vessels. And that brings us right back to that first problem we talked about, reduced uterine blood flow.
Both acupuncture and herbal medicine are just incredibly powerful tools for managing stress. Acupuncture is famous for its ability to calm the nervous system, while certain herbs, like Suanzar Ren, are traditionally used to soothe the mind and dial down that anxiety.
What's really cool here is the direct link to results. A study in 2012 found that as acupuncture helped reduce patients' stress and anxiety levels, their IVF outcomes actually improved. That's a direct correlation. And finally, our fourth pillar, the immune system. Think of your immune system as the body's protector, its security guard. But sometimes it can get a little overzealous and mistakenly identify a newly implanted embryo as some kind of foreign invader that it needs to attack.
So the goal here is to modulate or balance that immune response. Acupuncture can help lower systemic inflammation, while herbs like Huang Qi or astragalus are used to help regulate the immune system, basically encouraging it to be more welcoming and less aggressive.
And yep, you guessed it, research points to this as well. A 2011 study that looked at women with recurrent pregnancy loss found that acupuncture helped reduce inflammatory markers, creating a much more hospitable environment for a pregnancy.
So let's just quickly pull all that together and recap how this all works.
In a nutshell, both acupuncture and specific herbs work together as a team, improving blood flow, balancing those crucial hormones, lowering stress, and dialing in the immune system for really comprehensive support. All right, finally, let's get to what might be the most important part,
safety, and what your next steps could look like.
As we've seen, the evidence really does point towards some real, tangible benefits, with studies showing clear improvements in the key factors that are critical for IVF success.
Okay, now this part is absolutely critical. This is not a do-it-yourself approach. For these therapies to be safe and effective, and this is especially true with herbal medicine, they must be guided by a trained, licensed professional who specializes in fertility. The American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine is an excellent resource for finding a qualified practitioner in your area.
The information for this explainer was sourced from the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness. If you'd like to learn more, you can see their contact details right on the screen.
So, this leaves us with one final thought to consider as you move forward on your own journey. Thanks so much for joining us on The Explainer.